All right, so in case you were curious, well, I guess you can see the Ancient Era video was 1 hour and 13. Classical, 39 minutes. Now we are entering the Medieval Era. Our point in this game, the big thing is the two texts we're really kind of looking at in the Medieval Era are metal casting for workshops and education for universities. Anything else is just kind of along the way. Those are the two big buildings we need to push for. And as you get later on into the game, that is why, again, I could have done this series saying, oh, go look at what the advisors want. Or, oh, you know, go look at what they want for these, right? However, the problem being that is more of a beginner's, again, this is marketed towards more intermediate. So we are just creating a baseline that can level up your game, right? Which is what we're trying to do here and what I'm trying to give to you all and explain, right? So, again, that is why we're doing this. And actually, funny enough, because that is where this comes in help. So we can actually get workshops, you know, in all of our cities, right? Again, that is why we built these shrines, just because they took little time and we could just set up our workshops when they were done, right? Again, and as you can see, even though we haven't built wonders, we're still having a solid game. Another thing for me to explain. So, I'm going to leave this. So we have this worker or this warrior looking over all these tiles. So there shouldn't be another barb that spawns in this area. So what I'm going to do is bring both. I'm going to leave this compo up here. Honestly, if I want to be certain, what I can do is I'll put this compo here and this warrior here just to ensure that there's. And then I can even do this. The least, again, ensuring that there's no fog of war that could potentially spawn barb camps. So that is kind of our big worry right now. So also, honestly, this catapult is very useless. So I'd actually, honestly, use this catapult instead. I'll move this warrior here, move this catapult here, keep this compo in this city, and then just bring this composite bowman down. So, again, to either Turfan or Beshbalik. Now that we finished tradition, we need to worry about our second policy. No point in doing liberty, because that is kind of, it's the alternative to tradition for a first policy, and that determines your play style, whether it's tall or wide. So, 0 point honor. Again, I wouldn't recommend it for an intermediate player, simply because, again, killing, that's just depriving you of the ability to SimCity, right? That is a more advanced play if you, or just Lekmod, right? Piety, here's what I'll say. Piety is an interesting choice. Not only is it an interesting choice, it's also one that has synergy with Liberty. If you go Liberty, chances are Piety's your next best bet. Given that, as Liberty, you're just going to inherently be able to build more faith buildings that you can get more stuff out of with Piety. As well as with Liberty, you're inherently going to be behind tradition when it comes to stuff like gold, happiness, potentially just culture and faith generation, at least when it comes to, just the pure, like, the extra bonus modifiers or limiters with cities. As again, every city you settle is actually 10% more science and culture. So even though you have more culture output, you may have less policies with Liberty. But Liberty and Piety have good synergy. Tradition and commerce have good synergy. Because commerce, again, as well as an issue we're dealing with now is gold, adoption will boost our gold. We can get gold from our land trade routes as well as railroads and roads and railroads. And, I mean, we can also, if we plan on working slots, we can get more gold as well as other stuff like land snacks, less purchasing and bonus science, and then extra happiness is pretty good. However, chances are we might not go all the way because again, there is more stuff we can get. But at least now, again, more stuff in terms of like whenever we get Renaissance era to unlock rationalism, as well as whenever we get ideology, we're going to want to start putting points in those. However, in the immediate meantime, commerce is a pretty good synergy with liberty or tradition, as well as works on, again, our problem is if you didn't know, what is it? Again, you know, yeah, and then we can get this policy, which will be 2, and chances are, by the time we get an our policy, we'll either be able to put into rationalism or ideology. So, again, and I decided what I'm going to do is just simply bring this compo down to Turfan, as again, if this is a multiplayer and I'm worried about this guy attacking me, he's probably going to attack Turfan. Again, still have this warrior just in the area so that we can prevent a barbs from spawning. Same thing with this spearman. And I'm going to use this warrior as well as this catapult to do the same, but I will keep this. Honestly, I could bring this compo to Beshbalik if I really want to, but I will keep it in HCF for the time. So, again, just we'll see there. Declaration of Friendship. Again, not really relevant in multiplayer, but drama and poetry. Hong Kong targets nearby encampments. That is nowhere near where ours, so that is not relevant. Let's see, so... Again, I'm just finding out which tile covers the most. So yeah, Ryan, as you can see, our external cities are taking longer on the workshops, but just imagine how long it would take if it were universities. So obviously our cap can do more. We can also get forge too, which is pretty good for our production, you know, from iron as well as just towards land units. You know, again, right? Same thing with like, but so yeah, we can also, honestly, here's what I'm going to, yeah, I just, honestly, yeah, so with the cap, it's just, so, again, right, but, honestly, and this is something, because here's what I'll say, I normally don't use production queue, but what I'm using it for now is to kind of show you. And again, we have 0 wonders, but we're top at score, and our game is going really well right now. So, again, obviously, this is marketed towards more intermediate players. So, could the game be going better if I were going all out? Yes. Also, India, they have a profit, so they might try to convert. This tile gives us the most vision. There's only 1 without. However, we have enough units passing through to where that should not be an issue. And then again, just there's more over here. So I have this guy here, this catapult here. So, yeah. And then, again, this guy here. So we're preventing, by doing this, we're preventing barbs from spawning in our area. Petra, good for the AI. And also, whenever these workers finish the road to HCA, I'm going to bring this compo back to Beshbalik. Again, in case it were multiplayer, I'd be worried about an attack, right? So, again, so I think, yeah, the best way to, and as, also we have a golden age. So golden ages, we get bonuses to production, you know, and gold mostly. So also, as we can see, a barb camp spawned here. So also, funny enough, our city grew to here. So what I can do, I guess, yeah, put this here just to, again, prevent barb. The big thing is that they're not like the barb camps. It's fine if they spawn outside, but just not like inside of our land. And again, we got, so specialists. If you want, honestly, if you want to work, if you keep the city on default focus, chances are it will work the specialists. If you want to, you can manually work them. However, and this is why food is so important and food trade routes, simply because this is part of, by using internal trade routes and sending it to your cities for food, that is how you ensure that they work these specialists without needing to worry about manually doing it. Again, intermediate players. So, but again, we're going to leave this way, right? Also, as you can see, you know, so we built that. Now we can kind of relook over other stuff. So a garden, good for great people generation. Synergizes with specialists. So we will build that after the forge because we really don't need to worry about Colosseum since we're happy. Again, don't need to worry about temple. Culture, I can go over later. Again. So yeah, Wu Zetian is actually attacking a city state we're allied with. Unfortunately, there's not much we can really do about that. Also, since a barb camp spawned here, we can go and take care of that. And again, once this road's complete, I'm sending this compo back to Veshpalik. And again, unfortunately, I really want this city to grow here because then we can purchase this crab tile. But unfortunately, we don't have that yet, so... Open borders. Again, really the only thing that's relevant for us right now is if AI get duplicates and luxuries that we can trade for. So, automatic faith purchase. Again, we got yet another pagoda, which we're going to keep on going with, right? Funny enough, we can do... I'm not going to lie, I fucked that up. I should have shot this and then moved this in, but I forgot setting it up takes a turn. So we'll just grab that next turn. Again, I'm not perfect, right? I consider myself to be above at, like, a pretty good Civ player, but even I still make mistakes. India? Here's my thing. I'm not going to return the Great Prophet to India because if the Great Prophet has not used a spread, obviously it belongs to India's religion. But we can use it to plant a holy site, which generates faith. So, I don't believe it has spread. Yeah, Great Prophets, I believe, have 3 spreads. But I guess we can check. And again, we finished the forge. I'd say just after every time, just look at the... what would you call it? Look at the queue and then just see, you know, where you are at, right? So, also another important thing, National Epic, right? Should I go over into some of this stuff? Again, our next big thing is education for universities, which is in 8 turns. So we just need our other cities. Again, this city finished its workshop, right? However... we can get a forge, we can get a garden, even a market would be better than a Colosseum because we are good on happiness for now. That would be a waste. Again, the cap, we can get a market as well before a Colosseum. And even if we really wanted to, a caravan, but it's not absolutely necessary. Also, National Epic, like I mentioned, National Epic, and we're doing it now because it's 4 instead of 5. National Epic is 25% great people generation in the city, which is the same as a garden. But again, it also has great work of writing, and it is the National Wonder. If you're an intermediate player, I assume you know what National Wonder is. National College was one. It is the equivalent of that. So that's what we're going to build. Again, so based on our order of priority for production. So because specialist generation is important, right, to say the least. And again, still have not built a single wonder yet. Like, I highly advise. Also, Vancouver is captured, so we lost our benefits from it, unfortunately. Okay, unfortunately, it seems as though we cannot use it to place a... it must have already spread. Also, so we have an extra swordsman, right? Honestly, what I'll do is I'll keep this swordsman in Turfan. I'll keep this composite bone HCA just in case some coastal barbs or units spawn. and I'll bring this combo back to like the cap as kind of a reserve. Or I could just, honestly, I'll just keep it in Beshbalik. So, again, right? Yeah, unfortunately, we lost Vancouver. However, there's not much we can really do about that. So, it is what it is. Parthenon, again, the AI are building all the wonders, but we're still ahead, right?
Bureaucracy is its inefficiency.
Again, you know, intermediate player, don't worry about wonders. So, unfortunately, we can't, because if it had 4 spreads, we could use it to build a holy site. Unfortunately, we can't, so we're just going to delete it because it's not our religion. So, let's see. Again, just have this guy chill here so that we prevent barbs from spawning. Also, Korea now has wine, so we can trade wine for cocoa. They also have gems and will take spices. So we just gained 8 happiness off of that deal. Unfortunately, China, whenever we get another cocoa, we can trade with China. Prague. Again, our scout with its extra... We haven't even touched it. We just put it on Auto Explore, and it, you know, put in work. So, also, 4 turns for education, right? A 6-turn stable. I would say Lighthouse. Lighthouse in 4 turns, that actually works out. And then it'll improve this fish tile, which will give the same more food, and eventually when we expand here. So, Lighthouse first. Again, all this stuff I'm just putting in the queue. I don't plan on actually building it. Because these cities finished what I had them queued. So stuff like this, right? Honestly, 4-turn Stoneworks, probably for the best. Yeah, I'd take a Stoneworks over Stable. Again, this city is still working on its... what I might do is, because this is 3 turns... I can put... Oh, okay, 4 turns, that's a bit much, but... Again, you know, and then the cap, obviously nearly done with this. Maybe we can throw it in the cap, but... Again, the timing with the National Epic as well as the Gardens actually works out. Declaration of Friendship. Yeah, no, obviously if this were multiplayer, it wouldn't happen, nor would it matter. Also, is our scout nearly dead? So, I mean, to be fair, he found all the AI as well as a ton of the city-states. So, again, right? And what's nice is, and this is the power of city-state allies, all of these units are coming from Almaty, right? Again, it's something to where... So, let's move... out of range, and then heal up this scout. I'll heal the scout to full, and then continue its auto explo. So, and again, honestly, if we can do something like that, yeah, get it to 3 turns. That way, it coincides well with again the university. Again, intermediate, right? I'm not. Again. As an intermediate player, you're not going to want to be focused on that. So I'm going to actually let me meet this city-state first, and then I'll full heal. Because we just discovered an R camp, and this is a pretty, like, good location to heal. So, again, 2 turns, right? Till we can start to build universities. Again, obviously... This is a single-player game, but this is kind of trying to emulate multiplayer. Automatic faith purchase, again, we're still just going to be doing pagodas. And again, right, what's nice is we just haven't had to really worry about happiness. Also, all our cities are in line with universities and ready for, again, university production. So, now that we have education... Hold on. Let me actually queue up the universities first, right? So, university. And again, a big thing is, okay, a 5-turn stable, because 9 turns is a bit obscene. 11 turns. I'm going to be honest. I'll take a 8 turns. I'll take stables because stables give production, which will in turn lower the actual, you know, honestly, I will be willing to get, and the big thing is keeping your cities in line. So I've been holding off on getting an art caravan. However, I just think with how long it takes to build the universities, it's actually worth it to get these ahead of them. Again, stables to help with production towards it, as well as caravan just to get our last one up and running. With the other big thing being that gives them more time to grow so they can work the specialist slots. And again, we can no longer auto faith, but what we can do is mosques. Also, now that education's done, the next we could go, if we really wanted to be seafaring, we could go compass into astronomy and navigation. However, we have one coastal city that we have not built anything coastal. Also, you can see the benefit the lighthouse gives to that tile. Again, there's just... So, our focus is going to be more inland, and the next big is printing press. I would say the next big is industrialization, but printing press is important to get because it enables the World Congress. And then also zoos for happiness, as well as if we can get the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is probably one of, if not the best wonder in the game. So, again, we're going to click printing press, and then this will be our Renaissance era and kind of the end of our medieval era video or section for this series, right? So also a bit of a glitch, visually. Funny enough, China is finally starting to catch up to us in score, but it's literally only because of wonders. So, and also, as you can see, having more gold issues, even though all our cities are connected. If we really wanted to, we could build, what would you call it, markets, right? Which we do have queued up next, right? We have our markets queued up next after our universities. So, again, right? It's something we'll eventually get. And again, we're not doing manual production, but again, the big thing is that you build the buildings, have the happiness to grow, and have the food, or have the happiness to actually enable population growth and have the food to actually grow, right? And then the production, to actually still continue to build buildings, right? So, and again, with the cap, there was just no real reason not to. So, again, it's just the other cities, it took a bit, and I made that decision to where, all right, also, so it's kind of obnoxious in terms of the units we're getting now. So it's like, I'm going to bring this spearman back to the cap. And then, or what I'll do is I'll bring this spearman down to Bespalik, bring this comp bow to the cap, and move this catapult up here. Because catapults, unless we plan on killing an AR, are just absolutely useless. So, and again, we've finished the university. The city is not working it. However, this caravan, we can use as food to the cap, and it'll almost for sure work it. And we are getting the market to deal with our gold problem. So, I'll be really pissed if a barb spawns there in the meantime, but we should be good. So, again, we finished this one. Even though we're running a pretty bad deficit, this mark... Actually, what's the most secure trade route? HCA to the cap. Just in case, again, if we really are worried about a potential attack. What we're going to do there is I will... Because I'm curious to see how much this will boost our gold. But I'll do this as food to the cap so that we can ensure the cap works the university slots. You can manually work them. However, again, you're not going to want to worry about that as an intermediate player. Also, so we can improve our gold even more. Yeah, we're at +4 gold now. So no gold issue, right? Also, so again, we're doing this as production of the cap, right? And you can see in real time how it changes, how it affects, right? Right now, it's only working that engineering specialist. Watch this. Oh, wow, that did not change. I'm not going to lie, I thought it would start working that. If we wanted to, though, watch that, right? Now we got it working that. I'm not going to lie, that was pretty funny. Also, now that these cities have built their other stuff, they're ready to get their, you know, what would you call it? Universities up. So, however, now that the cap has built its market, we don't need to worry about happiness. So, Colosseum, here's what I'll say. In one turn, we can get the Ironworks, which is a national wonder for workshops, where, again, it just massively boosts the output of a city's production, which chances are going to want to build in the cap, right? Again, more advanced would be if you built it in an external city. However, intermediate play, cap's a safe bet. So we can build this Colosseum for 2 turns and then get the Ironworks after. Again, right? More advanced play, might want to look into something different, but again, you know, again, it's something to where, yeah, let's put it this way. Again, until you reach that point, don't worry about it. So, great engineer. And this is where, also, shit, so we can technically spawn stuff here. So, I forgot, I'm an idiot. Catapults have less visibility range. That is why we have like 0 visibility coming out of... Here's what we're going to do. Bring our... I forgot catapults have minus, so that's why we had like 0 visibility. So I'm going to bring the catapults down to Turfan and Beshbalik. China has a unit on a border. That might be concerning. Engineers are good because they can hurry production, which is really useful for wonders. So, like, this is why, like, if you are an intermediate player, don't worry about building wonders unless you can engineer. So, we have 4 wonders we can potentially build right now. Now, how do you know which wonders are good? Let's put it this way. Look at them. Angle what? Culture and gold costs requiring new tiles reduced by 25% in every city. Not that great. Especially when your cities are already nearly at their peak expansion. Borobudur, +5 faith. Must be built in a holy city, 3 free missionaries. Alright, what are we going to use those missionaries for? All our cities already have a religion, and as an intermediate player, you're not going to want to worry about spreading it. Chichen Itza, or Hagia Sophia, +3 faith. Free great prophet provides a free temple. We already have a temple. We already have an enhanced religion, and our cities have it. Chichen Itza. Length of Golden Age increases by 50, +4 happiness, +1 culture, +1 engineer. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? However, in 4 turns, we also get Notre Dame. +10 happiness, +1 4 faith, +1 great merchant point, right? And also, Alhambra, you know, is pretty good too for military, right? As well as, again, you know, culture output. Leaning Tower Pisa, +25% generation of great people and a free great person of your choice, which can also be an engineer. However, the question is, how soon are other cities going to produce their, again, their engineers? My best bet and what I'm going to do, also, a trade route ended, which is why we went in a massive negative deficit. So this one was from Karakoram to Delhi. We could also send it to Vancouver. Or we could keep it here. Chances are, I'll keep it here, and then the next one I'll send to Vancouver again. We have the one internal one going to our cap, which is enabling us to work all the slots. And again, I'm just going to do this, right? Oh, it did end. So rather than send this to Malacca, Again, no other city-states want trade route. Move this to Karakoram, and we can send that, again, to get the most... Again, Great Mosque of Jenne. So the AI are building wonders, but your best bet, again, as an intermediate player, is to not worry about that, right? Also, yeah, I completely forgot, and that just goes to show, you know, even I'm learning, right? I completely forgot, because I'm more worried, granted, if I was super worried about an attack, I'd build units. I'm more worried about barbs spawning than getting attacked by the AI. So... my big thing there, right, is I'd rather keep the units that have visibility out, preventing the fog of war, and just keep these catapults, you know, in my other cities. So, also, again, we're finally building the ironworks. So, again, yeah, open borders doesn't really do much for us. Let's see. Physics. Yeah, and as you can see, we've got this game pretty much automated at this point, right? I not know this actually gets that much vision. So there we go. And again, there's me for fucking being a idiot. I honestly completely forgot about that. So... science focus, right? Ensure that it works that. We still have stuff queued up in this city, so we're good. Honestly, and again, whenever these build them, I'm actually going to switch to science just to ensure that they're actually improving it, right? So, you know. And again, this city, I'll go over into what this city can potentially build once we're done with the ironworks, right? Again, save on gold by doing this, right? So yeah, this is kind of the... so these are the best tiles we can put our units on to prevent, you know, what would you call it? To prevent barbs from spawning. So this, we already have stuff queued up. Also, science focus, right? So 5 turns. Yeah, gold is really a struggle. Honestly, just put this last city on science focus, so that way when it builds it... and again, once we're done with the ironworks, I'll go into what, you know, our cap can potentially build. So, let's see, already got science focus again. And obviously, these cities are kind of running low on food. However, we have our workers building, and whenever we actually, like, get our gold up to, like, par, we can switch those two trade routes, the ones we're saying for gold, to internal trade routes, right? And also, once we get to printing press, that'll end our medieval era, sort of part of this, so... but what can our cap build? So, here's the thing. We can go for a wonder at this point. Again, however, I will say I am saving my engineer for Leaning Tower, because Leaning Tower, the great person of your choice can be an engineer. So you can engineer Leaning Tower and then immediately engineer another wonder. However, there is still stuff you can build. Now, we're working these slots. However, there are also guilds that we can build. So, like, let's say... honestly, not the Artist Guild, because we don't have the... what would you call it? The problem is, with the Artist Guild, the only actual slot we have for that is the Great Work of Art slot in the Palace. And this is why, like, again, you know, if we would have picked cathedrals, you know, we could have potentially gotten cathedrals in RCs and then built the Great Work of Art. However, there's a problem with that. You need all of the food to be able to work it, right? So, however, amphitheaters give Great Work of Writing slots. So, what we can do is build the Writers Guild into the amphitheater, right? And then that has 2, as well as just, again, whenever we do end up gaining it in these other cities, right? So, like, probably after markets. Again, right? After markets, since gold is a pretty big problem. Again, whenever we do get it, right? And this is more advanced. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build the amphitheater first, as well as the temple. Simply because I want the city to grow more before we actually commit to building the Writers Guild. So, again, I want it to grow to size 16 for that. So, obviously, other cities, you know, there's stuff we can build. But, okay, Sejong has entered the Renaissance era. When you enter Renaissance era, you get spies. Intermediate player, demographics. Okay, we are number 1 in literacy. So, spies are good for stealing tech. However, because we are number 1, normally what you do, you go and look at one, whoever it is, put it as a spy in their cap. However, we know that Sejong entered Renaissance. So he has techs that we don't have that we can steal. So put it as a spy in Seoul. Too easy. Don't need to worry about anything more. And again, so big thing. Again, we're worried about get the temple and then maybe even like something else before we get that Writers Guild out. That way we can grow to size 17 before we need to worry about working it. And then also we can engineer Leaning Tower Pisa. And that's officially, that'll end our sort of medieval part to this. And again, our other cities, we have markets and amphitheaters queued up. Again, it's just, again, the issue there, right, is, again, we kind of need the gold because 2 of our 3 trade routes are being used for gold. It should ideally be 0 out of 3. Automatic faith purchase, again, we can really see how clutch. And the big thing is, ideally, this takes us all the way to medieval because once we get to medieval, we can use faith to get a great engineer, right? So honestly, what I might do is I might get another, like, unit. I guess this is a bit of an advanced method. You can pre-build Oxford University, which is a free tech. However, you're going to want to wait to use it for a more expensive tech. A common thing is to either Oxford Radio for modern as well as Radio Wonders, or to Oxford Plastics for research labs. But you can put turns into Oxford to pre-build it, so that way later on down the line it's easier to do. So what I'm going to do is once this temple builds, I'll pre-build Oxford until I switch to Writers, and then at that point I should also be able to hit the Leaning Tower of Pisa with that engineer. So again, open borders is absolutely useless. Dyes. We can trade dyes for cocoa. And then whenever we get another cocoa online, we got a crossbow. Nice. So honestly, what I might do is just keep this crossbow. Honestly, because it's a bit weird in terms of, like, this doesn't actually cover everything. So I'm going to move this crossbow up here. Or compensate up there, and I'll move the crossbow into the cap. So again, this is what I mean, right? So 4 turns, but we're going to put 2 turns into it. And then we will engineer Leaning Tower, engineer probably another wonder after that, and then finish the Writers Guild. That way we're ensuring that we have enough room to grow for that. So, like, let's say, again, any extra units you have that are in your cities, just push out and prevent barbs from spawning. Also, I realized I never sent this back out to explore. And it's because I saw Polynesia's crappy city there that reminded me. Also, so these cities finished their markets. Obviously, didn't really do much simply because. Also, this city can now build a stable. So, honestly, I'll get a stable before a market. Also, I can probably queue up temples in these cities. So, again, right? Obviously, holding off on building Colosseums because we have no use for that happiness. And again, this city, we're just pre-building Oxford right now. Again, basically, and I'm not even going to leave it in the queue simply because, again, that just opens it up for potential to, again, you're just opening, Sejong is constructing Berber. You're just opening yourself up to potentially have that screw you over. So, alright, printing press. We have officially entered Renaissance. So, now we have printing press. The next tech path, really just straight to industrialization for industrial, funny enough, as well as factories. And coal. That's going to be a big thing. And then after that, it's just going to be public schools from scientific theory into electricity into potentially Oxford and radio. Electricity is good for hydro plants and aluminum, but if you want to potentially press, if you want modern and the radio wonders, which are Eiffel Tower and then Broadway, it's good. But that would be a potential, we'd look at Oxford. So, again, as you can see, there's less to think about on the tech path because it's just whatever next big thing you need to hit. So, we're technically in Renaissance. However, I'm not going to end this medieval era video until, so compared to like ancient, classical, and medieval, we basically got all the techs in that actual era before moving on, not really rushing. But with Renaissance and especially industrial into potentially modern, that's not so different. And if we want to look even further, a next big thing is, after radio, is plastics. However, there is an issue with that. Basically, once we get factories, public schools, and then hydro plants, we basically need to make the decision on whether to rush plastics or kind of hold off. But that is a decision I'll go over in the probably industrial era video. But for this, now that we have pre-built Oxford down to 2 turns, which will likely go down to 1 turn in the future because our city will have more production, I'm going to Oxford or engineer the Leaning Tower, right? And I can even spy on his cap. He's building Berber, not Leaning Tower. 1 turn. And what I'll do is I'll get the engineer from Leaning Tower and then rush Alhambra. As even though Notre Dame's better for happiness, Globe and Alhambra, the 20% city culture as well as the improved, just, what would you call it? Again, the improved units is just OP. So, again, we'll do this, right? Open borders. Again, we still need a spare cocoa to trade to them. So, and also, because what we can do, choose a great engineer. We can also choose a Khan, but we're choosing a great engineer, which we can immediately access this turn. So what we're going to do, and I can even check, at least Alhambra. So now we have 2 wonders for the price of 1. World Congress. So this is, funny enough, a pretty good spot to end our, what would you call it? This is a pretty good spot to end after this proposal. If you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what you want, world religion, your own religion, is pretty good. However, single player, let's put it this way. If it were multiplayer, you know, nobody would care. But single player, but also, again, you know, there's benefits to that, such as bonus for spreading, and also you get an extra 2 votes. However, if you don't know what to do, best bet is just World's Fair, right? It works well in single player because all the AI want it, but also in multiplayer, it's like, it's just something to do, right? You don't need to worry about other stuff, right? Just propose the World's Fair, and then when that rolls around, you put production into it. So, sciences funding is nice. Again, single player issue with AI being angry. Scholars in residence is nice if you're behind, but if you're behind, you're probably not inputting into the World Congress anyway. Again, other stuff like natural heritage, again, if you're an intermediate player, just need something to put in the World's Fair. It works well for single player too. So, again, so we still have our units out preventing barbs from spawning in our lands. Yeah, so this is best. Let's see. Again, right? So now we get that nice Alhambra. We got 2 of some of the best wonders in the game for free. And we are top in literacy, which is amount of text discovered. And now we have a... Now we get our Writer's Guild, but that is nice because, again, you know, it is nice because, what would you call it? The big thing is we actually have population to work it. However, funny enough, I'm being greedy now. Maybe, and also we can see now Oxford's 1 turn. Maybe I want to build the Notre Dame since it's 4 turns, right? It goes from 6 to 4. So a 4-turn Notre Dame is a pretty good investment. Globe Theater would be a bit much. And honestly, the culture from Globe Theater isn't, that's only really pertinent if you're doing tourism, which is, again, more advanced, but I'll kind of explain later on. However, and he's, of course, building that for 9 turns. However, since we actually have the potential to get Notre Dame in 4, I'm going to go for it. However, this moves in sense because we just don't really have much else to build. This is a good time to rush a wonder when we're ahead and don't have a lot else to build and can get it in a short amount of time. Other than that, if you're an intermediate player, just wait for engineers. But, again, you know. But now this marks the end of the medieval era, and I will move on to the Renaissance era for this part. So, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.